U.S. that the U.S. wants to see in Cuba? Is there anything less than regime change that would be considered success?
I think, as Secretary Rubio has articulated and the president himself, we obviously want to see flourishing and prosperous democracies all over the world, especially in our own hemisphere. I'm not dictating any actions the United States may take to.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna lie. Trump gonna have to pick. Dog, you can't focus on Iran and then focus about hemispherical dominance at the same time. It's not gonna work. Too expensive, too much expanding of our resources, and it's not a good look. Like, bro, if you want to dominate the Western Hemisphere for resources and for economic play, please, I'm all for it. Go ahead. That can only benefit us. But getting into war with Iran, I'm be honest with you, that doesn't benefit us, and it's only going to cost us lives, well, money, weapons, and I mean, what are we going to get out of it? What are we going to get? Even we got the regime change. I mean, who does that benefit? Not us. I'll tell you who would do benefit, though. It benefited Israel, but not us so much. You know what? I'm getting kind of tired of all these guys around the world who are going like, oh, free Iran, free Iran, free Iran. Look, bro, if your country's not going to go in there with us, shut the fuck up, please. Shut up. Stop trying to get us, stop trying to push us into war with Iran when your country won't do it. Or know what you could do? You can volunteer for the American army. And then if we go to war with Iran, you better bring your ass with us. If not, shut the fuck up. Like, your family members won't be dying, bro. Ours will.
Get there. But of course, that's in the United States' best interest to have Cuba be a truly free and prosperous democracy. Unfortunately, right now, that is not the case. They are a regime that is falling. Their country is collapsing. And that's why we believe it's in their best interest to make very dramatic changes very soon. And we'll see what they decide to do. Sure.
Much. Following up on Gaza, this $5 billion, who exactly will be in charge of managing this money? Would that be the president himself making the final decisions on how?
Oh, shout out TB for the baller alert. Appreciate the support, sis. Welcome back. She says, how do you keep trying to help people who keep fighting you about it? It's like trying to give starving people food, and it's not up to their standards. Like, I can't eat cheese sandwich. I'm vegan. It's like, yeah, that is true. Dealing with some of the Dems do be like that, but some of them are actually willing to listen. And I know there's a Dem out there was like, you know what? I ain't gonna lie. I don't like him on the Trump thing, but he's cooking about the shutdown. He's definitely cooking. It don't make no sense why the Dems are shutting it down. They don't understand it. They can have no substantial argument for it. So look, they're either gonna, one, sit there with their hands up, be like, no, let me think about that, or two, sit there and just try to call me whatever names come to their head.
How these funds are spent?
There will be the Board of Peace, which the president is, of course, the chairman of, but all of the member parties, I believe, will have votes on the funding. And then, of course, there is that technocratic layer underneath the official Board of Peace with the member countries that will be making decisions as well. So if you just go back and look at the first event that we had where we sort of unveiled the structure of the Board of Peace, that structure remains in place, and they'll be overseeing the funds that will be announced tomorrow for their reconstruction and humanitarian efforts. Sure.
Another question on that board.
Oh, Dems, if you want to know how me saying that is trying to help you guys, because you start holding your party more accountable and you wouldn't let them, bullshit you. Like, I'm be real with you guys. Like, y'all let y'all politicians bullshit you with this whole TDS stuff, and they don't never produce anything for you. Like I said, Zoran Mondani, Abigail Spanberger ran on TDS, poking at affordability and not give you guys anything. Like, when are you going to understand that, bro? Like, you just can't keep voting these guys just because of how much they hate Trump. Like, what are their actual policies besides them hating Trump? Most of y'all don't know. Trust me, if you knew, you wouldn't have voted for Abigail Spanberger. If you knew, you wouldn't have voted for Mondani. But it's F Trump, and that's all you need to hear. And some of y'all need to wake up to the fact that that's literally how you think.
Peace announcement. You mentioned there will be the announcement of who comprises that international stability force. How soon will that force be deployed? And have all of the regional partners, all of the regional countries signed off on the makeup of that force?
I don't have a timeline for you today, but again, I'm sure you'll hear more about this tomorrow. So you'll join us at the event. Deanna.
Thanks, Caroline. Two questions.
Sure.
First, the president has talked a lot about housing affordability, and several countries that are facing housing shortages, including Canada, for example, have imposed a ban on non-citizens, like foreigners, from buying their houses. Do you know if that's a strategy that the president would be willing to deploy?
Well, first of all, the president is obviously committed to deporting illegal aliens from our country and those who are not lawfully present in the United States, which he has done at a record pace, which has led to the falling of rents, as I pointed out in my opening remarks. Secondly, the president has recently announced that he is fighting for a ban on institutional investors and Wall Street billionaire corporations from buying up single-family homes that should be lived in his opinion, by American families. We know this is going to have a remarkable impact on the housing market and on prices and supply and demand for the American consumer and the American family. And then thirdly, the president is also expediting permitting as fast as we possibly can to build more homes, to increase supply, to obviously bring down the cost of home ownership and purchasing homes for the American people. And then also, as I mentioned as well, we do see mortgage rates falling. So all of this is combining to make housing more affordable in this country. There's still a lot more to do. The president is still digging his way out of the mess that was created by Joe Biden's administration and jacking up mortgage rates and jacking up housing costs. But we do see very positive trends in this direction. And the president wants the United States to be a nation of owners, not renters. He wants families to live in homes, not institutions and big corporations. Michael.
Caroline, secondly on Ukraine, yesterday Zelensky said
Man, big corporations, bro, they buy these houses so they can honestly make money on the appreciation of the house. And then, of course, to use it as leverage for when borrowing.
Interview that he says that it's not fair that the president is saying that Ukraine has to make concessions. He's saying this publicly and not Russia. Has the president seen these comments? And when the president says that Ukraine has to make concessions, is he referring to giving up Donbass?
I think the president would respond to that by saying he does not think it's fair that thousands of Ukrainians are losing their lives, and Russians too, in this deadly war. And that's why the president and his team have committed a tremendous amount of time and energy in bringing this war that is very far away from the United States of America, but nevertheless, this is a president of peace. And so he's committed a tremendous amount of time and energy to bringing this war to an end. Just yesterday, there was another round of trilateral talks between the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine. There was meaningful progress made in both parties. Both sides agreed to update their respective leaders and to continue to work towards a peace deal together. So there will be another round of talks in the future. But I think the president views this entire situation as very unfair, not just for Russians and Ukrainians who have lost their lives, but also for the American people and the American taxpayer who were footing the bill for this war effort before President Trump put a stop to it. And I would just remind everyone around the world that the United States is still selling weapons to NATO that are then being sent to Ukraine in their
I know we're taking a less direct position when it comes to Ukraine. Instead of just giving these guys weapons for just to lose a war. No, let's make some money off this. Let's have NATO buy the weapons since they want to beat Russia so bad and help Ukraine do it. Great. We see it as a hopeless endeavor, but why not make some money off it? I know it sounds effed up, but this is what we're doing. So we'll allow NATO to buy it. They're going to go ahead and send it to Ukraine. And, Ukraine gets to keep on fighting on with weapons by us, but they got to be purchased from NATO to Ukraine. And here's the problem with that. A lot of people think that, we're not supporting Ukrainians and this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, well, the problem is we were, and it didn't help them out. They're losing lives. They've lost land. And here's the thing. I mean, Russia's losing lives as well, but they ain't lose no land. That's the fact. Both sides are losing lives, but only one side is losing land, and that's the Ukrainians.
Defense of their freedom in their borders. Michael.
Russia is reportedly joining Iran for joint naval exercises in the Gulf of Oman this week. Has the president issued any kind of warning to Russia or even China not to involve itself if the U.S. decides to strike Iran?
Not to my knowledge, no, or not that I would dictate from this podium. I wouldn't reveal the president's private conversations with world leaders. With respect to that, again, when it comes to Iran, the president has a decision to make, and he will do that. And I'm not going to broadcast what that decision may be ahead of him.
President Barack Obama, Caroline, was recently asked if aliens are real. He says they're real, but he hasn't seen them. The president's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, told Miranda Devine of the New York Post that the president has a prepared speech on this issue that he prepares to deliver at the right time. Is that true? And does the Trump administration believe aliens are real?
Well, a speech on aliens would be news to me. That sounds very exciting, though. I'll have to check in with our speech writing team. And that would be of great interest to me personally, and I'm sure all of you in this room, and apparently former President Obama, too. So we'll keep you posted on that. Tyler.
Lord knows I'd be.
The White House has touted an unprecedented amount of cooperation with counties in Minneapolis.
I mean, let's be real though. Do we really need the president to come out there and tell us that aliens exist? Like when people were talking about, oh, Obama just admitted that aliens exist. I was like, bro, we've had more people, more official than Obama, more credentials on it, who actually was next to this stuff, who came out in front of Congress and told us about non-human biologics, about how we've collected alien spacecrafts and bodies. So when Obama said that, I was like, well, no shit, of course. I'm surprised you guys are surprised.
After the negotiations with Tom Homan, are those written or verbal deals with the sheriff? How many have agreed to cooperate on immigration enforcement who previously refused to do so?
Yeah, the last time I spoke with Mr. Homan, which was just a few days ago, he assured us that nearly every single county in the state of Minnesota has agreed to notify ICE when they are releasing criminal illegal aliens from their jails. This is an unprecedented level of cooperation that we have not seen. It has led to not only cooperation to detain illegal aliens in Minnesota, which just this past week, I have looked at the list. They've detained some very heinous people who none of you would want living in your communities, but has also led to a much more calm situation on the ground. We've also seen—
I don't know about that. Maybe they do. I mean, shoot, look at people in Minneapolis. They're out there literally protesting, or not even protesting anymore. They're literally obstructing and trying to stop ICE from doing their job. I don't know. Maybe they do want to live next to these, rapists, pedophiles, child molesters. I don't know. Maybe they truly feel at home with them because they're stopping ICE from getting them. So shoot, I don't know. Maybe we might have it wrong. We could be wrong, guys. We could be wrong. Man, hey, look what y'all doing out there. Y'all attacking ICE for cleaning up y'all streets so people who committed heinous crimes and entered the country illegally. So I don't know. Maybe y'all do like them. I would like to think you don't, but your actions say otherwise. All right, and shout out to TB. Appreciate the support, coming in with a baller alert again. Shout out, sis. She says, I had to take a break from politics for a few days. I'm curious, though. I'm curious, too. Not Dems or Republicans, but friends. What is going well? What isn't? We have what we have. What would you actually do if we were dealing with all of this shit? Well, what were you asking me? Will you actually do if you were dealing with all of this as president? If I was dealing with everything Trump was dealing with as president, man, look, I'd probably get assassinated like my first year as president. Like, I get so much done, but they're going to kill me because there's just of course, foreign aid getting cut off. A whole bunch of people are getting deported. I may be nice to some of I may be nice. I have a heart. I may be nice to some of the immigrants, but most of them will be deported. Only special cases will be accepted. Oh yeah, and we're also gonna fix up some of this crony capitalism. So yeah, we're gonna stop these guys from buying houses. We're also gonna stop the manipulation of the stock market by locking up a lot of guys in the Epstein files. Because it's kind of crazy. The reason why they say the stock market is gonna crash is because there are hedge fund managers up there in the Epstein files. That could pretty much, pull out of a company, start pulling out of AI, pulling out of your favorite companies and crashing the market. And they won't be affected because they can just move their monies to somewhere else, to a different currency, to a different market. And it's all good. So they do kind of got us by the balls, and we got to do something about that. So that's one of the things I would do. Not really sure on the exact plan, but it can be done.
And you've seen this with your own eyes play out, the local police and the state police.
Oh, and of course, I ain't gonna lie. I'm doing a deal with Russia and Iran. All right, bro. I know y'all gonna be mad at me with that, but hey, I'm all about doing business instead of, going to war.
Have now cooperated in the arrests of left-wing agitators and criminals who are unlawfully obstructing immigration enforcement in their efforts. So this is a huge win. And again, the president sent Mr. Homan to Minnesota to do a job, and he has done it well. And I think the situation on the ground proves that.
Are those like written agreements that they've been signed by various officials in the state?
These are agreements that have been made by state and local officials in the federal government, and we are seeing that cooperation play out every single day. These counties are notifying ICE when they are releasing criminal illegals from their jail, and we do know that they are arresting left-wing agitators who are unlawfully impeding law enforcement. There's video to show that. Show it yourself. You can view it with your own eyes. John.
Thank you, Caroline. You mentioned two things: DHS closed and the SAVE Act IDs. Both of these could get solved in 15 minutes if Senate Leader John Thune simply got rid of this phony 60 vote cloture rule and got 51 votes, and that would be the end of it, because everyone in this room knows if the Democrats take over, they'll get rid of that rule in 90 minutes. They already tried it one time, and the two Democratic senators that stopped it are no longer there, Manchin and Sinema. President Trump is backing a lot of these senators for re-election, and yet they will not get rid of the 60 vote cloture rule, which is holding everything up. What is the president's position on John Thune in the Senate finally getting rid of this so this legislation can get moved?
Well, the president has a good relationship with Senate Majority Leader John Thune. They keep in very close contact, and they work together all of the time. I hear your passion in your voice, and I know it's shared by many Americans across the country, including the president himself. He wants to see the SAVE Act voted, and he's expressed that both publicly to all of you, the American people, but also privately in his conversations with Senate Majority Leader Thune and many other members of Congress.
All right, I guess I gotta explain this to some of you guys. Well, not really the Cap Hunter, but I forgot this other guy. What's it? Oh yeah, Mr. Jonesy. Yeah, bro. Let me educate you real quick. So it's not really politically. I'll be real with you. It's not really the best thing to do politically to try to go out there and shrink the value of people's houses, depreciate people's houses. And what Trump's plan was to build single family houses, to start making housing more affordable for your average everyday American or the younger generation of Americans by starting up these single family houses without destroying the value of houses that's already bought, like these big houses that, the boomers got. And they have their appreciation. Like, would it be fair just to take away all their hard work and all the hard work and appreciation that they've earned over the years? Like, that's kind of fucked up. And trust me, you'd be actually taking a lot of money from them because a lot of their net worth is in their house. So you got to find a way to balance that out. So when Trump says, I want to raise house prices, he's basically saying, well, I want to make sure people's investments are still secure in their houses. But I still want to create more single family houses for the younger generation to get into these starter houses so they can work themselves up to the houses that, the older generation got, like the boomers. I thought that was obvious, but hey, I can see why you needed to explain. I can see. I don't know. Maybe it was just obvious to me, but I can see why you needed that explained.
As well.
Yes,
Rav, go ahead. Good to see you.
So J.B. Pritzker just recently signed the bill. The law went into effect in January, and it's supposedly going to allocate about $2.5 billion to illegals to go to college and financial aid in the state of Illinois. What is the White House's reaction to this? Illinois is already, by 2027, they're supposed to have a $3 billion deficit. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that. I would say the president certainly thinks that Governor Pritzker is not doing a very good job of managing his state, as evidenced by not only the waste, fraud, and abuse, but also the crime in the city of Chicago that unfortunately Governor Pritzker has refused to pick up the phone and call the White House and ask for help on, which is something his residents want him to do, but he refuses to do for political reasons. As for the specific money, we'll take a look and get you an answer. You're welcome. John.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. Two questions. One is about the president's trip to Georgia tomorrow. If you can provide some additional information about that, why Northwest Georgia was chosen for this particular trip, for instance.
Sure. Well, Georgia is obviously a very important state to the president and to the Republican Party. And the president.
Hey, shout out to Tove. She says, going to crash for a couple hours. All right, have a good nap, Tove. We'll be back in after if you're still live. Also, did you just low-key finally admit you're paid by Russia? You know how much the libs in the chat like to say you're doing that. Yeah, I know. I do like to play into the whole Russian propaganda angle. It's like, oh, yes, I'm a Russian propagandist because I'm telling you what's actually going on the battlefield of Ukraine. My bad, guys. Sorry, the Kremlin don't got to pay me a dime cent to tell you the truth. But, hey, if that's how you feel, it is what it is. Yeah, you'll figure out the truth sooner or later. I mean, you should have figured it out the way these talks are going. But if you ain't figured it out by then, just wait a little longer.
President loves the people of Georgia. He'll be touring, like I said, a steel facility, and then he'll also be stopping by another local business, and he will be giving remarks on affordability, on the economy, on all of the great economic news that I just shared with you earlier. He'll be meeting and greeting with everyday Americans, and that's what the president loves to do, to get out across the country, and he's spoken about his intention to go across the country a lot more, and obviously tomorrow's trip is evidence of that.
Secondly, last week, as you know, big event that took place in the Roosevelt Room, the president announcing that the EPA has repealed these federal limits on emissions for cars, trucks, and power plants. And in the president's presentation, he mentioned that American families will save $2,500 for a new car or truck. Where is the promise coming from automakers that they're going to pass along their savings to those families all across the country?
It's a great question, John. That was an economic analysis that was provided to the president, and I'd be happy to provide that to you so you can take a look yourself. But I'm glad you brought up the president's announcement last week, because this is one of the largest deregulatory actions ever taken in the United States of America. And overall, it's going to save our country $1.3 trillion in regulatory burdens that have really done nothing for our country, nothing for our environment, nothing for our economy. In fact, this announcement received widespread and bipartisan praise. I think I recall seeing the editorial board of the Washington Post, of all places, even commending the president and Administrator Zeldin for this historic action last week. So there's no doubt it is going to save the American consumer money, and I'd be happy to provide that specific economic analysis to you. Sure, in the middle, go ahead. Yes.
Thank you. Governor Moore in Maryland signed a bill that is ending the law enforcement cooperation with ICE. And by doing that, a lot of local sheriffs are not happy. And in fact, they met today in Annapolis to come up with either a legal action. What is the message to the White House, to those sheriffs, and to the residents of Maryland?
Well, first of all, it's another despicable action by Governor Wes Moore. Why would you prevent your state and local law enforcement from cooperating with federal law enforcement? If you just ask them, to your point, if you ask a sheriff across the country if they want to have that level of cooperation and coordination with the federal government, of course they do. It makes their jobs easier. It keeps them out of hostile.
I mean, I don't know about that, because apparently it seems like the Dems' plan is to not work with the government, to not work with the federal government, and then blame the outcome, well, on the federal government. That's what they did with ICE. They didn't want to work with ICE in Minneapolis, didn't want to provide no type of crowd control, no local police, no National Guard, but then they blame ICE for everything that happens. I mean, bro, same thing with Wes Moore. I mean, he could be working with the administration, but he won't. And if things tend to get worse, he's going to sit there and blame the administration, but he's the one not working with them. I mean, I don't really know. Like I said, it's like the Dems could literally do anything, shoot themselves in the foot. They'll shoot themselves in the foot in front of you, and you'll say that Trump did it to him.
And dangerous environments. It allows them to detain illegal alien criminals who have committed heinous crimes in our country with the most safe circumstances possible. So the president, of course, continues to always stand on the side of law enforcement, and this is another just horrible and frankly political action taken by Governor Wes Moore. And unfortunately, the people of his state are going to reap the consequences of it. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. President Trump.
Hey, man, don't matter, bro. You know what Wes Moore's going to do? Just blame Trump. Just blame Trump, bro. That's all you got to do as a Dem. You could F up as much as you want, bro. You could F up on affordability, the environment. I mean, anything. As long as you could just blame Trump. That's all you got to do as a Dem. And they'll vote for you again.
Just said on Truth Social that it would be a big mistake for the UK to hand over control of Chagos Islands to Mauritius. But the State Department earlier this week has said the U.S. does support that handover. So does this post now suggest that the U.S. does not, or that President Trump had changed his mind on this?
The post should be taken as the policy of the Trump administration. It's coming straight from the horse's mouth. When you see it on Truth Social, you know it's directly from President Trump. That's the beauty of this president and his transparency and relaying this administration's policies to all of you and to the rest.
I would ask her this. I'm like, so was that video that Trump posted on X about, the little King of the Jungle song that portrayed the Obamas as apes? So yeah, was that him or was that a staffer? Because I ain't gonna lie though, if that was him, he need to apologize. If it was a staffer, somebody need to get fired.
Of the world. Carrie, go ahead.
There's been a series of walkouts from public school students that have been sort of provoked by a number of public school administrators.
Oh, and shout out TB. Appreciate the support, sis. She says, now that you all know what you do as president, start writing some letters, Dems, Republicans, whatever. Work for the good of our country. That's my budget for the month set, but I'll be around. Hey, man, I appreciate it, TB. Hey, I'll be a fair president. Look, even the libs will like me as president. Now, the Warhawks won't like me, the radical leftists won't like me, but everybody in the middle, they're going to love me.
What are your thoughts on this? What's the administration's thoughts on this? Will they be taking any actions on these walkouts against ICE?
Look, I think obviously the president and the administration support the First Amendment rights of all American citizens. And if they're peacefully protesting, then that's their constitutional obligation and right and responsibility to do so. Of course, the administration also wants to see American school children in school learning and educating. And I think it does speak to the left-wing bias that is unfortunately very present in our nation's public school system. And it's something that Secretary McMahon has been working very hard to root out of our public school system by ensuring that local governance and local control takes place over our nation's public schools, and that parents and educators closest to students have a greater say over curriculum and academia in our country. Take a couple more. Go ahead.
I ain't gonna lie. And if they restructured teachers' pay, I mean, one, we need to pay teachers more and based on performance. Like a teacher who always has a class full of, A, B students, or they can take a C student to an A student. I mean, teachers like that just need to go ahead and get paid six figures, bro. We need you. We need y'all. And there are teachers out there who just get paid like the rest of them. That's unacceptable. Like the teacher needed to be a performance-based job. If your kids are failing, now, I mean, you should either get fired or you getting paid that base like $40,000 a year. But if your kids are excelling, man, you should be getting paid six figures plus. I mean, honestly, I think it does start with our teachers and of course funding as well. But funding won't mean nothing if the teachers ain't into it.
Thank you, Caroline. The Vatican announced earlier today that they would not be joining the Board of Peace initiatives over concerns that it could potentially compete with the United Nations over handling crisis conflicts. What's the White House's response to that?
Yeah, look, we saw that. I think it's deeply unfortunate. I don't think that peace should be partisan or political or controversial. And of course, the administration wants all those who were invited to join the Board of Peace to join. Because again, the Board of Peace is overseeing the reconstruction of a territory that has been plagued with violence, with bloodshed.
Yeah, that we allowed and we send weapons to. That's kind of the reason why, nobody really want to get involved with Iran because of Israel. I mean, it's kind of one of the reasons why a lot, even people on the left kind of look at us sideways and all that good stuff. Cause it's like, you guys preach all about saving children to children and having children, but you guys kind of sat there in silence as innocent children got bombed recklessly in Gaza. I mean, gonna lie, that's fair criticism. That's fair criticism. Like personally, I care. But I ain't gonna lie, not everybody in MAGA honestly gave a damn what happened in Gaza, and they're actually cheering more about the fact that, oh, well, guys, it's being rebuilt. Yeah, after it got leveled, bruh, they leveled it. They probably killed over 100,000 people. I don't think there's anything to brag about. Actually, this whole Board of Peace thing, as soon as they let Bibi on it, it was a sham. I'm be real with you, the whole Board of Peace, as soon as they let that man Bibi on there, Bibi Netanyahu, I was done with it. I was like, yep, just go and throw the whole thing away. Throw it away, bro. Just throw the whole Board of Peace away. As soon as you let that man on there, it was just tarnished.
Poverty for far too long. And this president has a very bold and ambitious plan and vision to rebuild and reconstruct Gaza, which is well underway because of the Board of Peace. This is a legitimate organization where there are tens of members.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be real with you. You got the guy on the border. Look, Bibi Netanyahu is actually stealing land right as we speak in the West Bank that we told these guys not to go into, not to stop taking land in. Trump said on national television that Israel will not take the West Bank. And what did they just did? They signed a law to de facto annex the West Bank. I mean, what are we even talking about here, man? When it comes to Israel, bro, shit don't make no sense.
countries from around the world, and we think that's an unfortunate decision. In the back, sure. I'll go to both of you, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead, and then Jake, you can go.
Caroline, can you tell me, is there an update regarding the tariff rebate checks that the White House has promised?
I don't have an update for you on timeline, but I know that it's something that the president and his economic team continue to very seriously discuss.
Thank you, Caroline. I've got two questions. First, does the president see some sort of religious or prophetic component to the unfolding developments in the Middle East?
I haven't spoken to him about that particular perspective, to be honest with you. But of course, the president wants peace for all people of all faiths all around the world, and that's part of his push.
Me too. I want peace for the people in Iran. I want peace for the people in Russia, Ukraine, bro. I don't know. Maybe it's just like, I don't know. Maybe it's somewhat of my Christian teachings. Like, I low-key want peace for my friends and enemies. I don't want nobody to be out here dying in high numbers. And getting into it with Iran, and here's a problem. I mean, the push to get into it with Iran is amazing at this point. Like, let me tell you guys something that I've noticed. You ever notice how all these so-called Iranians, right, that came out, they are Iranians, but they just come out the woodwork out of nowhere, supporting the king, supporting the monarchy, by the way, supporting a whole monarchy to get rid of a dictatorship, which is hilarious, by the way, because I'm like, they're kind of the same thing, but F it. But yeah, it's kind of funny how they're all coming out here pushing for us to go to war with Iran. I mean, they're even picking up the Muslim hate. They're out here calling themselves, oh, well, Iranians aren't like these dirty Arabs. It's the Arabs. We're Persians. And I'm just like, what? Oh, well, we shouldn't even trust Iran. We should just bomb them and just take out the regime. Okay, great. You do it in your country, not us. Because, like it or not, Iran's actually a formidable opponent. We could beat them, but it ain't going to be without no losses. That's the problem. People treat Iran like it's Venezuela, like lives won't be lost. We will take a win, but lives will be lost. Money will be expended, and it will be no benefit. I mean, unless they're about to give all of their oil to us, like in Venezuela, there will be no benefit. And I'm going to be honest with you right now. This whole push to get the regime out, look, I want the regime gone too. But if that means we got to get involved with Iran, F it. Let them have their own revolution, okay? We don't need to get involved with that. Let them do what they want. If they want to get rid of that regime, they will. As much as you guys say, well, 90% of them doesn't want it set. Nigga, how do you know? Why are they still there if it's 90%? Bro, if it's 90%, damn near the police is against the government. So that's obviously not true. It's probably like 55, 45%. So let's be real here. Everything you guys are hearing out of Iran, all this hopes of regime change, I'll be real with you, it's just to push us towards war. And the worst part about it is other countries are trying to push us into war with Iran. And they're not the ones going into war if this pops off. Guarantee you. People in protests in the UK will be sitting on the sidelines as we're fighting. Australia will be sitting on the sidelines as we're fighting. I mean, are you effing serious? So people who don't even live in our country or who won't be going out there and fighting ourselves are pushing for our soldiers to go out there and die in the desert or in the sky or at sea. Like, it just don't make sense to me. I'm sorry, guys. It just don't. It really don't. And you don't want what's best for our country. You just hate Muslims and you just hate Arabs. Like, that's just what it breaks down for some of you. And that's the scary part. You wanting us to go to war with Iran breaks down to two things: your hatred of Muslims and Arabs. And bro, what the fuck? That is not a good reason to go to war.
Create peace in the Middle East, which he has done successfully.
And my second question is, as this popularity rises around the world, and especially in regions where it's invested so much effort in promoting peace and ending wars, do you think we might be watching the emergence of a global MAGA movement? Is this something that the president has discussed at all?
Well, I don't know, Jake, but I sure hope so. Take a couple more. Go ahead.
She's funny.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you about Iran. As the U.S. military builds up around Iran, is President Trump coordinating war plans with Israel so that if he does decide to strike, that Israel will be a part of those strikes?
Look, I don't have any specifics on the president's recent conversations with Israel. As you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu was just here at the White House.
Well, let me tell you about Prime Minister Netanyahu. Prime Minister Netanyahu is, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. This man actually wants war with Iran. We know this. He's been asking it for decades. And it looks like it might actually give him what he wants. But the main problem with Bibi is that, well, during that 12-day war, he kind of found out that Iran ain't nothing to fuck with. Yeah, Iran is not nothing to fuck with, because when they was firing those rockets at Israel, Israel's defense was barely catching them. When they send them hypersonic missiles, Israel couldn't do anything about it. So Israel knows them damn selves. If that they pop off things with Iran and America doesn't follow them up, Iran will decimate Israel. And that's the fact of the matter right there. And Israel knows it. And I'm gonna be real with you. The main reason why Israel hasn't taken over all the Middle East is because of Iran. Is because Iran backs these proxies. Not saying that's a good thing, by the way. It's not. But this is the main reason why Israel wants Iran gone, is because they want to dominate that area. I mean, think about it. As soon as Iran got weakened, they started attacking Lebanon. They started attacking Syria. They started attacking, all over Yemen. Why? Because Iran's weakened. And with their weakened Iran, they feel like they can press their will upon the Middle East. But not completely, though, because Iran needs to be completely taken out. And if Iran can't get completely taken out by the U.S., then they're kind of cooked, and they kind of sit there and deal with Iran as Iran rebuilds themselves, which they're doing right now, militarily wise, though, because there's really too much they can do about the sanctions. I mean, they could try to rely on China, but that ain't gonna help them out too much.
Last week or the week before. But again, with respect to Iran, there was some progress made yesterday. There are still a lot of details to discuss, and we'll continue to see how this plays out. The United States government, of course, is always in close communication and correspondence with the state of Israel, and that starts right at the top with the president and prime minister.